The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie.
What are you looking for?
Hello, y'all.
What are you looking for?
It's right there underneath. Are you going to read through it? No, it's okay. You can talk about it.
Hi, y'all.
Some of it. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
So it's just me and the wife today, so there should be a good amount of arguing.
Yep, should be.
And
My husband produced this book, printed it up, and he's
I
so
did
happy
not-
with himself
I
that
did
he's
not
like,
produce it.
I mean, produce as in print it, sorry.
Okay, I printed it. That makes more sense. Yeah. But hey, listen.
We're here. It's just the two of us today, so
what
good
was
luck.
Gary saying? John Tory resigned.
Yes, apparently.
He's 60
I
years
don't know.
old.
He's been around forever.
And he went with a 30-year-old.
Yeah, that's kind of normal for men, isn't it?
He still got it.
He's still got it. Well, we don't know that. He's probably got some money, and that's probably what the 30-year-old, because I don't get it. Like,
Well, hold on. I'm almost 60. I'll be 58, right? 58 coming in a few days. I still got it, don't I? Huh?
you still got it, but
You
I'm
say
just...
yes, so I don't have to go out and find myself a 30-year-old?
I don't know. I can't even articulate the words I want to say. So, not about you, just about this in general. Like, it's, yeah. Anyways, let's get
Well,
off that topic.
okay.
It's not a good topic.
It's a controversial one, so it could be good.
Yeah, like personally, I do not think that somewhat what they do in their personal life shouldn't really affect how they run their business.
Depending on the business, I agree.
Right,
Like
so-
you can't be a bank robber and be in charge of the bank. So, but you're robbing banks on your personal time.
Okay.
So, but then you would have to give up being a bank manager if you get caught.
Right. Okay.
So I can
So
see
where's
how
the
your
comparison?
I can see how your personal time could affect your business time. But, so I'm just being devil's advocate here.
I wasn't saying personal time. I said what you do in your personal life, per se. Like just, okay,
You're saying
listen.
you shouldn't-
and
you
I
shouldn't
know a lot
quit?
of women aren't going to like this sentence, but it's probably not coming out right, but like, what does him having an affair do with how he can run the city? Like,
So if I had an affair, would you be okay with that?
no, but I wouldn't expect you to know, oh, well, now I got to give up everything. I can't run a show anymore. I can't sell real estate because it just doesn't. People will come up with their own conclusions anyways with what they believe is right and wrong. But I'm just saying, these days, a lot of people are coming forward and just claiming, this happened, that happened, and some of it is not real. And then that person's life is destroyed. Good for him that he resigned, but I'm kind of on the fence with it.
He's actually 68 years old.
68. So that's
Yeah.
one of the last times he's going to have sex.
So let's just say for an
Just being a
example,
joke.
What does
I
a
got 10 years left
30-year-old
in me.
want with a 68-year-old that's probably going to die in a few years, and then you're alone? Like,
Ouch.
You know, if I may just intercede,
yeah,
as I was telling Randy, I met Mr. Torrey a few years back. He's actually a lawyer. I don't know if you knew that. He's a lawyer, and he has he quit his law firm and he started running a lot of businesses. He actually worked for Rogers for a long time, and most of his career, believe it or not, over 15 years, he is a talk show host. He was a talk show host for many, many years. And then he ran a couple of businesses in the U.S. that didn't do so well, so he got out of there. And then he ran for politics here, as you know, and he became the mayor of Toronto. And that's basically his life. But he's actually been a broadcaster and working with different radio stations in Canada, for those of you listening around the world. And he just got elected mayor as kind of a fluke. So there's a little bit of history on him.
Well, I don't know if I care if he quit, really, to be honest with you.
who's stepping in?
Who's stepping in? That's a good question. I don't
It
know.
would be the vice mayor, and I forget the name of that person.
So yeah, I'm not even emotionally attached to the situation. I'm a little bit more fixated on Tiff Macklin. I'm a little bit more fixated on him.
Driving him
I
through the crowd.
I gotta admit, I realize how wishy-washy I am, because the fact that he froze and he was deciding that he'll wait to see the effects of what devastation
Well,
he's
one of my
created.
articles kind of talks
actually-
about one
I like
part that here's another thing you can look at. Yeah, he's doing great now, but
I
that
don't
doesn't
think he's
mean
doing
that
great.
or he did something
Yeah.
to let's say, redeem himself. Okay?
For some people not to hate him as much.
Yeah, and to me, it still doesn't erase what you did. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
you still did what you did and devastated everybody, and we're here.
And we're here because of
We're
that.
here where you're hearing so many people can't feed their kids anymore because
know,
of the
it's so
cost of
sad.
everything, and the food banks aren't getting, like,
There's
it's
no-
everything.
it's-
The blood
it's-
banks, even, people aren't, since COVID hit and no one could do anything, they're short
It's
on
bad.
blood. It's not
It
good.
is really bad.
It affected a lot of different areas.
For the people who, but at the same time, there's lots of jobs and everything out there. People can work.
Yes.
Just the people who can work don't want to work, and so
Listen,
that's a major problem.
Why are we, as a city, paying people to go around and pick up garbage when you had people on welfare? There's your employees right there. Put in so many hours a week doing community service, and hey, you get a paycheck for it. Why do they not do that? The same as you can't ask them for a drug test because, like, come on, like, we're all paying for
You
this.
should have been married to Donald Trump with this attitude, this attitude
But
that you have.
doesn't it make sense?
Yes, it does.
If
but
you're giving me money,
but
I do something in
you're
return.
going to get a whole bunch of haters now.
I get that, but
Okay, so-
I'm just talking about doing something and putting something back into it. Okay?
Contribution.
Like us, if we do well in life, we put back into the community. We do something for a group. We do something, like, it's just kind of normal.
So here's the thing, guys. We are experiencing some difficulty with our email server. We will be
yeah.
changing our email server. But in the meantime, if you have an email to send in, where would they send it to, Gary?
Don't hate me.
You can send your email right now to instudio101 at gmail.com. We got one in. I don't know if I should read this.
Oh, no.
No, it has nothing to do with you, Jack.
Good.
It actually,
Let's get some hate mail in on Jackie.
no, it's not. It's about me, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah. A friend of mine who listens to your show, his name is Tim.
Yeah.
He listens to your show every week. Most of the time, he says, "I am a friend." Hello, YT, your team.
Oh, Tim. Okay.
Hi,
I
Jim.
am a friend of your producer, Gary, and it is his birthday today.
Ah,
Oh, happy
Gary.
birthday, Gary.
Thank you. And he says, I do not like Tori. That's from Tim. Thank you, you bastard. I'll call you later.
Happy birthday, Gary. You keeping
Yeah.
it a secret?
Yeah.
Well, I was until that came in, but if I didn't forward that, you would, say, hey, what are you hiding, right? So
Happy
So you
birthday to
95
you.
today?
Happy
I'm
birthday
getting
to
up there,
you.
Rand. I'm a little bit older than you. Let's put it this way. I was a teenager in the 60s.
Oh, that's when I
Why?
was born.
Yeah. You're kind of old too. Why are you doing
What do
that
you
to
mean? I'm
someone
younger
else?
than you.
No, you're not.
I
You
am.
wish.
Okay.
And
For all
wishful
you people,
thinking,
all you
wishful
people out
thinking
there
doesn't make it so.
that are watching our YouTube channel, which is you go to YouTube, you punch in Your Team Pros. Take a look at us. Tell us who's older.
I went and got my nails done the other day, and a guy asked me if I was a senior, and I'm like, no, and then he felt bad, and I'm
Why'd
like,
you lie to him?
can you stop it?
Just asking.
I was born in 1969. You were born in 1960. So what the heck?
1960, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you made that up just like that on the fly?
I didn't make it up. I'm married
did.
to you. I know how old
So
you are.
So you don't know my birthday then?
Your birthday is the 25th of
You
this
don't know
month,
the year I'm born.
1964.
So why'd you say 1960?
Because you always do it to me. Bad behavior breeds, unfortunately.
But don't you know that it's cruel to do something like that? Like you shouldn't do something that
I
someone
should
else
stop
does that's
behaving
cruel.
like you.
Exactly.
I should stop
You
behaving like
shouldn't-
you.
You shouldn't just do what I do because you think it's funny. It's actually cruel, and you could hurt someone's feelings doing that. Yeah?
That's okay. In a few years, I'll go get everything tightened.
Well,
Yeah.
Jack, we got an email that kind of compliments you, if you'd like to hear it.
Okay.
A Mike wrote in and he says, hello to Jackie and Randy. I agree with Jackie about jobs that the homeless, nonviolent criminals, and welfare recipients can do. It makes sense. Viva la Trump.
What did you say? Sorry?
What was the last part?
It says in big letters, Viva la Trump.
Oh,
Viva la Trump. Okay, there you go, hon.
but it just makes sense. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
But-
it's like 1 + 1 is 2.
Well, the thing is
We work for
tried
our
to do
money, and the
that.
government takes half of it just because we're working.
they tried that years ago, and it was considered cruel. They wanted to have people come in, they would check in, and they would give them activities, and that was short-lived. Not only that, someone came up with the idea where they would have to do a drug test before they could get their
Yes.
check, and that was also shot down. You have to give the people the money. That's it. You gotta give them money. It's the way it works. And then once they get addicted to the free money, they realize it's not enough, so they turn to a life of crime to subsidize their income. Because if they go legal, they lose the free money. It's like a horrible, horrible little self-fulfilling prophecy there. It's, I don't know. And, I'm also against, and I don't know why I am, because I'm like totally liberal at heart. And, I came, we got that dentist thing, eh? We got to get on that this week if we can. But I came here as
a wee little
as
baby.
a wee little baby immigrant from England. I was born in England. Parents are Guyanese and Dominican. Neither one of them were responsible. They were in university. They decided to have an evening of fun.
Procreate.
And I came into the world, and it was a huge inconvenience to these two university students. So I was shipped to my grandmother, who happened to be, I guess, in Montreal at the time. And then I went there, but my grandmother was a little bit crazy, as we all know. She beat the crap out of you just because she's having a bad day. And so I was taken away from her and then put into foster care. and so I grew up in foster care my entire life. So you would think I would be extremely left, and I think I am. But this whole, given money, if you have children, we'll give you money to raise them and stuff like that, as long as you don't have a husband or whatever. The whole
As long as
supporting.
you don't have a stable life.
So the whole supporting caste system. I understand that you want to support the kids, but the system is being so abused that they really need to revisit it. And and it allows for people to just to go outside of the system, forget about finding somebody that I care about and settle down with. I'll just have 3 babies, get Ontario housing, and then I'll use my baby money to survive on. And
Yeah, like I
it's
see
just
so
insane.
many of these young girls, and I do a double take because I'm like, how the heck do you have 4 kids? You look like you're 30. And they're dressed to the nines. They got, it's like,
They're
it's
getting
just
the
not
baby
right.
money
You know
money.
what? Give me back some of my tax money then.
That's
If
not
you
gonna-
want to
that's
be
not gonna
giving
happen.
stuff away, I'm working, give me some tax money back.
It's not going to happen. As a
I
matter
know.
of fact, we're all being taxed more now because of the money that was spent during COVID. So right now, everyone is losing.
Except for
Homeowners?
government, the big up government. Trudeau's
Well,
not
yeah,
hurting.
if you're in government,
None of those guys
that's all
are hurting.
stable. That's all stable.
Yeah.
Homeowners, January prices down 16.4%. That's just massive year-over-year loss. 16.4% on average. However, I got to bring some good news into that. In the last week, ever since Tim Macklin made the announcement that he was going to freeze rates, so we're not going to hear anything until April in terms of price rates. He's not going to do one in the March one. He's not doing any rate hikes or anything. He's just holding. So with that in mind, people started to get back into the real estate game. And so in that last week and a bit, the market's been actually heating up, which is a problem. It's nice to see that people aren't totally down and out, but unfortunately, if we have activity in our economy, if we have people going out and buying because they think times are good, inflation is not going to subside, and he is going to have to go on another big rate run. And so, I think one of the things. Can I play a video, Mike, that would really help us to understand?
No
It's
problem.
2 minutes. The people on air will be able to hear the audio, right? It's a 2-minute video. And what it does is it really helps us to understand why we have to have this inflation under control, because if we don't, we can go into a double dip inflation, is what they call it. And supposedly the second time that you have an inflation run, it's so much harder to tame it. Now, we know that things are very heated, and we know also that they're blaming it on us Canadians, which it's not our fault. There is no way we could have ever have spent the money that the government spent during COVID. That's the real reason. However, it's being blamed on us, and if we make a run too early, then the next batch will be us fueling it, and it will be issues. So can we play this video now, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, listen up, peoples. I can just make sure the volumes is good, and here we go.
Inflation hit 9% in July, the highest it's been in 40 years, and it's barely dropped since then. So what will it take to get it under control? Hopefully not. what
If
it took
Randy
the
wants to
last
send
time
me
this
that really
happened.
quick,
About
I can play it over the air here. We're not getting the audio.
Oh, they're not getting the audio.
Okay,
Mike.
let me see what I can do here.
No, it's okay. Because I'm getting it double. Mike, you're not getting it at all. I mean, Gary, you're not getting it at all.
I
No,
was
but if
hearing
you
it in my
Discord,
earpiece.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm
was
gonna
hearing
mic
it in
your.
my
I'm gonna
earpiece, too.
mute your mics, Randy and Jackie, and then that will keep the double.
But the double wasn't the problem. The problem was Gary wasn't getting anything.
Yeah, I work on that. Just stand by.
Okay. So basically, he's going to go over what the problem is in 2 minutes. So I don't believe I can be that concise. And my wife is sort of shaking her head. Maybe I can't be.
2 minutes for Randy? No. You took 2 minutes introducing the story.
Oh, you're gonna pay for that one. You do love me, eh? I know you
Yeah.
do. I know you do. So inventory.
Those who love you hurt you the most.
So sales are down 44.6%. New listings are down
year over year?
Year over year. New listings are down 3.7%. Active listings, the inventory on the market is up 124.6%. The average price down 16.4%. And days on market is 41 days on market, which is up 121%. So that's pretty huge. And then if we're looking at what's actually happening at the individual house segment of the market, we're looking at detached homes are down 23%. Semi-detached homes are down 22.3%. Townhouses are down 18%, and condominiums are down 8.1%. So why are condominiums down less than detached homes? Why are detached homes down the most? Well, what happened, if you guys remember, as my wife is sort of pointing out, she's rubbing her fingers together, sort of noting that detached homes are more expensive, and in a time of rising interest rates, people really can't necessarily swallow those payments, and so therefore they're staying away from going to the bigger ticket items. So that's kind of one reason. The other reason is that if you remember the run on detached house or the low-rise housing sector was just massive during 2021, 2022. While the run on condominiums was moderate. And actually, even prior to that, condominiums were actually running at the rate of inflation in the teens, so 2017, 18, 19, they were running at the rate of inflation, the rise of condos, while detached homes were still doing a big push. So detached homes have really separated themselves from the condominium market, and I will tell you, that was that run. And what's going to happen, the market's going to level itself, because the detached homes had a really big run. The market's going to level itself, and detached homes are going to make another big run when it's time. When the market starts to go again, you're going to see detached homes do a big, huge run. And the big reason for that, for those of you who've listened in on this show over the last few years, you know that detached homes is one of the housing segments that is not being developed. It is rare to find detached homes being developed in urban areas.
Unless they're like estates,
So you're seeing...
which is very expensive, right?
Right. So you're seeing lots of condos, you're seeing lots of townhouses. And townhouses is the new detached in a sense,
Yeah.
because you kind of got, a yard. Not with all townhouses, but with some of them. And so, hey, Barry, you want to join us?
Hey, dude.
So detached homes are definitely a gem. There's something that they're not actually being built. And so while condominiums and townhouses are feeding the marketplace, detached homes aren't being developed. So in a few years, when we have a run on real estate again, what we're going to find is that there are not very many detached homes for people. And hey, we never stop dreaming. That's the one thing that you will realize about Canadians. We don't stop dreaming. We want to have our own piece of land. It's called the Canadian dream, the white picket fence. That's what it always used to be. We don't see white picket fences anymore. However, we still dream to have the house where our children can run and play in the backyard, where we can park a couple of cars in the front, one for the wife, one for the husband, so that, you know, they can go out and do the things and multitask and take their kids to soccer. One's going to soccer, the other one's going to ballet, and they're different times and their lives are hectic, and that's why they need the vehicles. It isn't going to be an Uber world, I don't believe, because I think more and more businesses are going to be more in further distance away from our homes, because everything is going to be so expensive. But that's another thing that actually we didn't touch on.
I kind of disagree with you there with the
what?
Uber. It's not going to be an Uber world.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be
as
an Uber.
people's lives get more busy and more with the kids, with full-time work, with you know, picking them up, driving them here and there. We know, like Anthony has 3 kids, and he's on the go he teaches all day, and he's on the go every evening with the kids.
Yeah. So where's Uber come in there?
Uber to have your dinner delivered to, like.
Oh, no, I'm not. I was talking, sorry. We're talking about on different things. I'm talking about Uber with respects to the families getting around. Because you know you would never put your child in Uber to go to the dance recital.
No, so that's why you use Uber in other parts of your life to make that easier, because you're not going to take away from your child. If your child wants to do 5 different activities, they're going to do it. So you have to find another way to make time.
So I agree with what you're saying. I think what I was referring to was that we're still going to want 2 vehicles. It's not going to be an Uber world where we can live in the condominium. We don't have 2 vehicles. We have a townhouse. We don't, and so that's what I meant. But I do agree with you. Uber has so many different applications, and I wasn't considering any of them other than we need a 2-car garage. And we need our own backyard where we can have our own toys for our kids. We need, you know, even renting out the basement. You're going to find I know it's going to become something in order to own the home, but I'll tell you, having all the toys that you want to have for your children, because that's our dream. Our dream, a lot of times when we get together, is to have children. That's the glue that holds it all together. I think, not for everyone, but it certainly was for us. As a matter of fact, you waited and waited and waited to marry me until you were ready to have children. You were like, I don't know if I want to marry this guy. I'm going to wait and just see. And then you decide, okay, I want to have children, let's get married. And so it was like that. And so then our whole world becomes about the children. So that's where the backyard comes in. That's where having your basement and your basement toys down there, and your house turns into your child's playground. And that's just kind of how life works. So I think we're always going to want that detached dream. And the fact that they're not building it, what they're building is studio apartments, bachelor apartments, 1 bedrooms, and a 500 square foot 2-bedroom, and a 600 square foot 3-bedroom. These little tiny things, they're not conducive to having a family environment. I know that you can pick up and you can go down to the bowling alley or go down to the swimming pool, or you can go down to maybe even the tennis courts if you're in a really cool condominium complex. But the area that you live in is so small that it will become very challenging to have your families in that space. As a matter of fact, what we noticed during COVID is that when the government shut things down, they sort of forced the family to be together. The husband and the wife is both at home. They can't go off to work. So now they're with each other for 24 hours. And then take the kids. They're not in school. They're in the same house. What we see happen during COVID? Everybody and their dog selling their house and buying a bigger house, because there was no way that they could keep a happy, loving family in the space that they had if they all had to be together.
But did they all think that at some point this was going to change? We weren't going to be in COVID forever. So, you know, eventually you're going to have to drive back to work. I mean, a lot of companies decided, wow, this is working. I don't need all that overhead costs for a huge building and that. But you know, like at some point, things were going to come back to some form of normality.
Okay, so I agree with that, but at the time, they still had to keep their families,
Yeah.
right? Because if they didn't do something, they were going to lose their families. So, because it was just too much to be in that space 24. You and I, we lived together, we worked together, we played together.
We do everything together.
So for us, it wasn't any change.
No.
So because we're always together. However, a lot of families aren't like that. The husband goes off to his work, wife goes off to their work, and then their activities with the kids, and they're separated to make sure their kids are doing all they want, and they just kind of see each other later.
Well, that was our life in the beginning. I was home with the kids, and
kids.
I did all the kid running, and you worked.
That's true.
I did everything, and you worked. Now I'm still doing everything, and I'm working.
I don't know what you mean by everything.
Oh,
I don't
we were
want to break
supposed to
it down
ask
on
Gary,
air.
did you get any emails? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Let's see. Let me open up this one here. This is from Edward. And he says, "Hello, Randy and Jackie. Love your show as usual. The government really screwed up people's lives during this COVID epidemic. So many people went bankrupt and had a lot of hardships. Governments F people." Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Edward.
Oh my
The
goodness,
only
sorry.
thing I will say is, you know, I got accused of being wishy-washy on Randy Raw, or Randy's rant. And I kind of stand by part of what I believe. The thing is that, you know, it is tough. You cannot do anything and make everyone happy. So you kind of have to choose which side you're going to go on, and you're going to piss off half the people. That part kind of sucks. But I do believe that our government is not in place for the people. I believe our government right now, the way it's structured, is in place for power. And
It's
it's
always
a very,
like
very,
that. You know what?
I don't
They
believe
should
it was
pull
always like
the
that.
politicians out.
I don't believe it was
Let
always
some
like that.
amazing business person take over and see what happens.
We
the,
had that.
the country needs to
We
be
kicked them out.
run as a business. We're not in the States, so
No,
forget talking
I'm not
about
talking
Trump.
about states. I'm talking about here.
Yeah, because
our
people,
prime minister,
you know
we
what?
had a really good prime
Like
minister.
I said
He
to
was
somebody
balancing
though,
the
Randy,
budgets, he was doing it, and we hated him. I hated
here's the
him.
problem. People voted Trudeau back in for the second time, right? And I'm wondering, like,
There
why?
was no options. There was
You
no
know what?
options.
No, but you know why? Because listen, I'm conservative. You know why I'm conservative? Because my mother was always conservative, so I'm
Oh, really?
conservative. So, and I think a lot of that's going on. You have the older people, and we learn to like what our parents liked. So we voted the same as what they did. Some of us don't have our own mind when it comes to that. So it's, you know,
Yeah,
I think it's a
you're-
lot
I
of
think
people
you're
just
right on
voting
the
because
line.
they're liberal. They're not really voting the
Yeah.
person. They're like, I'm liberal, so that's what I'm voting.
Yeah, that was
I'm
me
ticking
for
off
years.
all liberal.
Well, it was because we wouldn't take the time to learn. Like our lives are
has
so
the
damn
time?
busy. What do we want to go and check out this
yeah,
guy's life
I'm
for?
not doing that.
So,
But Gary, was there any more emails?
Yes, there is one more.
Okay.
Lori wrote in and she says, "Hello, Jackie and Randy. What do you think of this new concept, 15-minute cities?" You know what that is?
I did not hear
No,
it.
I.
Okay,
15
Who is
15-minute
this, Lori?
cities. This is from Lori. 15-minute cities is a new concept worldwide that you develop and build a city where within 15 minutes you can go to everything and anything you need to sustain life, from a doctor to a movie theater to a grocery store to a dentist, everything. So you don't really need transportation per se. It's walking distance, and they want everything that you would need in your life within 15 minutes of wherever you live.
I think that's amazing. I think in some areas that's being done now, though, Lori. Like if you look at North Oshawa, what they call
Oshawa.
Windermere Farms, which used to be a big farmland, and now it's all built up with houses. If you look, that's what's happened up there. They've built the community, then they built the commercial, there's Costco, there's doctors, there's dentists,
Everything's
there's
there.
coffee shop. I mean, anything you can think of in this plaza. There's actually, I think, a couple clothing
Do
stores.
they have ballet there?
And then probably,
Do they have soccer?
let's
Yeah,
stop.
they do.
Anyways, yeah, because they could
Yeah,
do
yeah,
soccer in the campus there. But I'm just saying, like, that's kind of what's happening, and they kind of got to do that because when you bring people in to that mass amount, you got to open schools. You have to do all of that, right?
You know where that's lacking? Downtown Toronto.
But they got the subway or whatever. You don't really need a car if you're living downtown.
That I would kind of agree with, except for us being used to driving our whole lives, that would be very difficult. And with all the crime that's going on TTC, whew,
Oh my
damn,
goodness, I know,
don't
it's
know.
rant. It's like, what the heck is going on out there? Like, the world is becoming a crazy place right now. People
Well,
want things and they don't
have
want to
a
work
theory.
for it, and they're out there stealing
I have a
it.
theory.
What's your theory? You have a theory for everything, so what's this one?
I'm going to make it up on the spot. Okay.
And by the way, guys, before he starts his little thing, his theory, go check us out on YouTube. You can see us. You can actually see my facial. Can actually see my facial expressions when Randy says things. Go look up Your Team Pros, and you'll find us on YouTube. Go over there, click subscribe. Go
Pros
see us.
with an S. Pros with an S. So I think that it's one of two things. We're all stuck at home all together and whatever, and that created some personality
And
clashes.
some babies? I'm kidding.
Some personality clashes. So and people needed to get out. They get out, and honestly, the cost of living, I don't care what they say about this 2% and 8%. That's all crap. Some stuff's 100%. Like, I know we could have went out for lunch pre-COVID, and we could have spent $20, $30 for a decent lunch. Now, that's $70, $80.
Really?
What?
Could go out and your bill was
$20, $30. Yeah.
breakfast. I know
You
when
could-
we used to
not-
go out and
not
do
just
breakfast
but-
before the show, but
Well, that would depend on the place that we went to. But now, to do that is not even possible unless you're doing trying to do a McDonald's or something like
no,
that.
that's even more.
I don't know if
McDonald's, to
went
go
up
get
because-
McDonald's, like for you and me, it's like $40, $50.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, and before you
Like
could
a
have went.
Big Mac is $8, $9.
I don't know, because I don't eat that stuff. It just
Yeah,
doesn't,
I'm just
doesn't turn
saying,
me on,
you
so-
mentioned it, and so I'm just saying, like, it's not cheap to go eat at those fast food places either. They got to survive.
And so I think that there's a portion of the population that's feeling helpless, and so they're just lashing out. But that's my theory. And then the conspiracy is that what they put in that vaccine is causing people to grow. I'm just kidding. I really have no idea there. So
Yeah, don't
I
go
was
there
just
with that.
I was
Anyway,
just
should we
kidding.
get into our stories?
Can we Mike, try that video again, or are we good? Or should we save it for next show?
I would save it for
No.
next show.
Okay, let's
No,
save it
no,
for
no.
next show.
Randy, slow down, folks. Just send me the link right now. Send me the link, and I'll have it played over the air for you.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll go into my one story. And this one is titled, and it's from Better Dwelling. And remember, guys, all these stories that I read you, take it with a grain of salt. That is somebody else's opinion, not
Who's it from?
necessarily Better Dwelling.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm just saying,
they're
it's
the-
not necessarily 100% fact-driven, okay? But this here is Canadian seniors are racking up reverse mortgage debt at a rapid rate. So, for you guys who maybe aren't familiar with reverse mortgage, it's used for seniors, and it's based off your equity in your home. And what it is that you can take out equity. Either you can get payments monthly if you want it, or you can get a lump sum of equity out of your home, and you can use that. And you don't make a payment. The payments build up on your equity. So you're losing equity in your home, but you're at least able to live. Like some people will do that when they retire. They're like, okay, you know what, I want to travel a bit, so they'll take some of their equity out. And the funny thing was that it says right now Canadian seniors owe $6.7 billion in reverse mortgage debt. So it used to be 5.9, and which was around 370 million. Then it went to November, and they're saying November was the huge peak in this. That's what this article is saying. Went to 6.7 billion, right? The balance is now 1.6 billion, higher than last year. So billion we're talking, not million. And it's the fastest growing debt right now. It's not the biggest debt that Canadians have, but it's the fastest growing. But now I had a look at the charts that is in this, sorry, my computer, in this here. And you know what's funny? When you look at the chart, I know no one can see this, but it's okay. It starts off here, and as we go, this is 2011, and as we go, look at this. Look at the spike. The spike went up in reverse mortgages when the market went crazy in 2017. Look at this spike. 2018, look at the spike.
And
then it went down, and now look at this. Last year, it's starting to climb again. Why? Because homeowners, parents, realize that with the price of homes, if they do not step up and help their kids, they're not going to have a home. So a lot of people took out equity to help their children. So this is, like I said, it's reverse mortgages. If you guys haven't heard about it, email in. Randy can explain it more. He's the mortgage broker. So it's, people in this case, I would think actually even have to dig into their equity to survive at this point, because, if you're retired and you have a set retirement amount based on when you retired and now life is this, that amount that you retired on is probably not really working for you anymore.
Well,
and it's not a bad thing. Like if it's used properly, reverse mortgage, if you use it properly, it's a good thing. But if you're just taking stuff out and you're going to Disneyland and you're buying a new car and you're just killing yourself. Like don't,
I guess there's a couple different ways of looking at it. I mean, you can live in your home mortgage-free and eat cat food. Just saying.
Cat food has gotten really good lately, no kidding.
So you're house rich. And
money poor.
And you can't really do anything. You live an extremely, whatever kind of life. If that life makes you happy, great. But if it doesn't, then a reverse mortgage can actually help change that.
And it
can
doesn't
allow you.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
It can allow you to go on vacation. It can allow you to do wonderful things for your children. Now remember, the old philosophy was that, I save, I get debt free, and I save,
and I
keep saving, I keep saving, and then I pass away, and I give everything to my kids.
But the government takes it.
And the government takes half, because that's the game, right?
Even after you die, they're still taxing you.
They teach you to play the game so that they win, right? And the game is that your kids are going to get what you built up, the nest, the nuts that you built up, but they get half. And you see, reverse mortgage sort of came in and threw a little bit of a monkey wrench into that.
Unless you incorporate yourself.
Because the reverse mortgage then came in and said, hey, you got $1 million, maybe $2 million, maybe $3 million just sitting there doing nothing. Your kids can't buy a home. And when you pass away, yes, they can have it. And then they can go and buy their home.
Of it.
But do you get to see any of that? Do you get to play with your grandchildren in their home? Do you get to have that whole experience? No, because you're sitting on your money.
And I should have also said, Randy, that this is not, when they give you out this reverse mortgage, it's not, you don't even have to have a job, because it's totally based off the equity in your home. So you don't have to be working, you don't have to be approved for it. If you got equity in your home, you're pretty much approved. It's like that Alpine credit.
Right. So the thing is that you take out this mortgage. Now, here's what would have happened if you didn't take. Let's say you got your home. I don't know. You did well in life. Your house is worth $3 million now. You're sitting there. You decide. Well, you know what? Let me take $1.5 million. I bought the damn thing for $80,000. Let me take $1.5 million out. Give my child $1 million so they can go and buy a house and have a $200,000 mortgage, which is really the maximum mortgage they should have had to begin with. And so they can go and they can do that. Sometimes you even have to co-sign for them to get them to $200,000. So anyways, you go and you get them their house. If you waited till you passed away, your $3 million house, the kids would have only got $1.5 million anyways, because the other $1.5 million would have went, roughly speaking, to the government. So now that you did that, okay, well, now you got your interest building up. By the time you pass away, there's only $1 million left in equity in the home. But the $1.5 million that you took out, they're not paying any taxes on that. There's no taxes to be had. That's a loan. You're pulling out your money. That's a loan. That's not income. And so that's one thing to sort of keep in mind. That because I know some of us older people, the way in which we were brought up to save, and so in saving, we don't think of the end consequences of the saving, and the end consequences is that someday all that money that we already earned tax free, because we already paid all of our taxes on it, we're passing on to our kids who now have to pay taxes on it again. So why don't you start looking at ways in order to get around that? I'm not saying the reverse mortgage is the right thing for you. Go see your accountant, figure out what is necessarily the best way to do it. But I can tell you this. I've seen with my own eyes people who are going to get a reverse mortgage are going to have to pay 6-7% interest. And they're older people with big money, and when they get to the lawyer or whatever, the whole transaction is halted because they say, "Oh no, the reverse mortgage is going to eat your equity," and then the lawyers and accountants get together and lend the money at a much higher rate and start their own reverse mortgage racket. So, so the thing is that sincerely speaking, it can be a good financial tool to help you to turn what would be your children's income into a debt instrument or a loan where you don't pay taxes on. So weigh that out, because it could prove in your particular situation to be good. It's not right for everyone.
No. I mean, and that's why, like Randy's saying, sit down with your financial advisor or whoever you use and seek some more information on it. But it can be a very good tool.
Yeah. So
I mean, I had a client that used it when she bought her condo, and
consider just consider if it's not like a reverse mortgage or whatever, because it's like we don't sell reverse mortgages, so it's not really we don't sell them. I mean, you can get them from the company, but so we're not endorsing them. We're just saying that
could be a method.
I think for myself, I definitely wouldn't want to die to have my kids be able to go out and do things. I would rather see them do it, see my children and my grandchildren be able to experience it, sit back, watch that, and know that that I got to enjoy part of that rather than be sitting on it every day when I went home. And as my wife said, one of the good things about it is that you don't have to be stressed with the payments. They just get tacked on to the rest of your equity, and that's why they do low loan to value mortgages.
If you're taking it out and giving it to your kids, then are you really too concerned with racking up the debt on your equity if you've already kind of took your equity and did what you wanted with
there you
it?
Go.
Right? I don't know. I mean, that's another way to look at it, right?
Just remember, your kids are going to be paying half on the money that
when
you
die.
leave them. So if you can pull half, think about this. the cake is only half of it they get. The other half of the cake is going to someone else, someone that you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you could take half of that cake right now and give it to your kids, you've already done what you would be doing in the next 5, 10 years, whatever. It's already done.
Yeah.
And now you still got the other half of the cake. Now you can decide, how you're going to work from there. If you pass away, the other half of the cake, the kids are going to get half of that as well. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think
Could
about
be,
that.
Could be a win-win.
Talk to an advisor.
Yeah. And then I got one little fun article like I usually do, and it's from Toronto Life, and it's the House of the Week. And it's $2.8 million, and it's in Scarborough. It has a heated deck, camouflaged closets. It's 2,700 square feet, 14-foot ceilings, white oak throughout the house. It's absolutely gorgeous. 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 3 parking spots. It's in the neighborhood of Birchcliff and Cliffside. It's when you look at the size of this home for $2.8 million, it's the tiniest one kind of there, but it's renovated like gorgeous. Like I mean, when you go inside, you don't even think you're in this little house. It's so open and feels so airy, and they just like with their closets in their bedroom, they're all just kind of built in. This is their closets. Very sleek looking. Beautiful little back patio. And it's $2.8 million. Anybody interested in going seeing it? I love going and looking at these homes, so anybody wants to buy it, seek me out so I can see how people live. No kidding.
So excellent. Thank you, sweetheart. So
That's all I got.
Gary, are you able to chalk that up?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we only have 9 minutes, so if we can use 2 minutes for you guys to listen to this so you understand where the Bank of Canada is coming from, I'll do a little soliloquy afterwards.
Okay, here we go.
Inflation hit 9% in July, the highest it's been in 40 years, and it's barely dropped since then. So what will it take to get it under control? Hopefully not what it took the last time this happened, about 40 years ago. To explain, let's go back to the late 70s. Inflation hit 10% and then some after creeping up slowly for years. Normally, the Federal Reserve Bank can curb this by raising something called the federal funds rate. Simply put, that makes it more expensive for banks and people to borrow money, so they spend less and inflation goes down. But look, when we add the federal funds rate to the graph, now here in orange, you can see it wasn't working. As the rate crept up, so did inflation. In fact, it went past 12%. Financial expert Paul Schatz said the Fed was being too timid.
The Federal Reserve is almost always either to blame or has their DNA all over some kind of systemic problem.
But that changed big time in August of 1979 when a new Fed chairman named Paul Volcker took over and proceeded to give our economy the equivalent of tough love. He beat inflation by creating a recession, 2 of them actually, by repeatedly hiking that rate to 20%.
Inflation went down dramatically. The Fed lowered rates, and then into 1982, inflation skyrocketed again. Volcker and the Fed really hammered rates. They went crazy on rates in 81, 82.
And it was painful for Americans, especially because unemployment at the time was at 7%. But it worked. Inflation peaked at about 14% in mid-1980, and 3 years later, look at this, it was back under 3%. So do we need that kind of tough love today? Well, experts disagree, but the Fed has been adamant that they are not trying to cause or worsen a recession. The federal funds rate now is just a little bit over 2%, a far cry from 20, but more raises are coming. We'll just see if they take 3 years to work this time around. I'm Tim Lammers, Fox 61 News.
And back to you.
Is there any emails, Gary, before Randy starts?
There are no emails.
Okay, so
Go for it. You got.
So basically, what he was saying there is that if the Bank of Canada raises rates too quickly, we're going to have sort of that double dip recession. And so this is the fear. This is why you hear Bank of Canada come out and they may have some strong language. Their language that they use is almost as important as the rate hikes, because what they're trying to do is to have people follow their instructions so that they reduce their spending. They're afraid of hiring. They're they're keeping everything moderate in order to choke the money out of the system. So there's not an over demand situation, and therefore supply has to bring good prices down. They don't have to try to keep up with demand, and basically, having an overstocking, reducing of pricing, and bringing down inflation. That's the philosophy. That's what they're looking to do, and I get it. I really do get it. I just think it's really unfortunate that that Canadians are to blame when we know that it was our government. It was actually sicker than that.
That really stuck with you, what that guy said to me.
Yeah, well, no, I hear it from a lot of people. It's all over the news, all the news anchors and all of them. It's almost like the news in the States where for whatever reason, the news in the States, they just love Biden. So when he says something really stupid, they all jump out and say, oh, no, and support him and say that's not what he said or whatever. It just seems like there's just this real, bias towards liberal governments when it comes to media. And so our media is absolutely supporting the fact that the Bank of Canada and their monetary policies were married lockstep and jump to the fiscal policies of the Liberal government, and then that gave the Liberal government unlimited spending power because they did not have to worry about what was happening with that debt because the Bank of Canada was buying it. Because nobody else was going to buy all this debt. Like, you have to understand that what the Bank of Canada did was feed the dragon. And then when you then create all this money, the after effect of it is inflation. They're the ones that caused it, not us because we came out of COVID and decided that we wanted to go to a restaurant. Are you kidding me? That's not what caused the inflation. It was caused from the overspending of our government. But all over the media, they say something absolutely different. So,
well, what was that
saying?
So
what happened? It wasn't greedy investors like they're trying to say now with this residential real estate investors and investment properties plan, where they saw investors move from 20% to 30%, and it's those greedy investors that piped up the real estate market.
Yeah, but if we didn't have investors, where would people be living when they need to rent something?
But that's not that's another problem. If you solve investor problem, bring it down to zero, what's going to happen to the rental market? But let's forget that for a second. That's not what happened.
And
do you know why?
They're putting money into the Canadian economy.
Okay, the reason why investments jumped from 20 to 30% was not that investors decided they want to go out and buy properties. It was because every mom and dad had to sign on their kid's property in order for the kid to get the mortgage. So all those mom and dads are considered investors. That's what the increase is from, right? It's not from all of a sudden everybody's an investor. Yeah, we had lots of investors, and that's been it throughout the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. And if we don't have investors, that's fine. Go ahead, get rid of them. But what's going to happen to the rental market? Right? So it's really kind of unfortunate that this whole system, they're always looking for an scapegoat and not realizing that really what's the real problem? The real problem is that you chose bugs and lizards over homes. And then when you said, nope, you can't build homes there because we got 10,000 frogs living there, So we're not going to have people
Listen,
living there.
there is an ecosystem. There is a chain of life, and without the bugs and lizards and
That's fine.
everything,
So your kids
other things die, and it goes up the chain. They're needed.
No, I understand you believe
Like
that, and that's good.
they're needed.
No,
like
I
a bee,
understand
like the flowers are needed for the bee to pollinate.
No, I hear you. So
you cut down all the flowers. What's the bees going to
Then
do?
don't be mad when your
I'm
kids have
just
to pay
saying.
$2 million for a house. Don't be mad about that.
No, but hold on.
Enjoy
hold
your
on.
honey.
This is the government. Now you're putting everybody
No,
else in there. Just because the government decided that doesn't mean me as a person, I decided it. So don't tell me don't complain when the housing
just
goes
saying.
up. The government did it. And I think, yeah,
do you mean the government did
taking the purple saved land that's in
Get back to
behind
Doug Ford.
the green land could be okay, but you can't go in and just destroy whole
Nobody's talking about
ecosystems.
destroying. What they did was destroy the development areas. That's what they did.
Randy,
Okay?
the
but
bugs and
it's 12
lizards
o'clock.
and the rivers and the lakes, all that was there before development.
I'm not saying build on the lakes. I'm not saying build on swamps. I'm just saying.
Anyways, we got to
it's
go.
12
Gary,
o'clock.
any emails before we go?
There are none.
Okay,
So we can continue this argument off air.
Yeah. So the thing is that this is exactly why you guys got to pay the money you pay, because the bug and lizard lovers want there to be no more development, and therefore you're going to have more population fighting for less housing. This is your
gotta go.
home, your money,
Our
and
arguments.
and our lives on realityradio101.com. Bye
Bye
for now.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101.